Hey guys, Preacher 357 here. I'm out here in the shop because I have got a gun that I want to take a look at here that was announced last year actually, and I've been interested in seeing one of these things ever since and never had seen one on the market. It was announced last year at SHOT Show 2022, and so far I had not seen one in a shop anywhere. And then I went into Direct Hit in Jackson, Tennessee on the south side of town yesterday, and there one was. So I decided to pick it up and take a look at it. So I thought I'd do a first look video just to take a look at this gun before I really get it out on the range and test it out, because it's got some interesting features, some things I thought were neat about it. And we'll just see if it turns out to be as good an idea as it seemed like it might be. It's competition, obviously, for guns like the P15 and that type of gun. It's a small gun for concealed carry, and I think it's well positioned to do well in the market, with the exception of maybe the price, and we'll talk about that a little bit as we go as well. But let's go over here to the cleaning table and actually take a look at this gun, which is the Keltec P15, but in particular this is the Keltec P15M or P15 Metal, which is an aluminum frame version of the gun. All right, we see we have the Keltec case here. And when we open up the case, there is a bag inside. So it comes with a bag to carry it in, which is fairly nice. And inside you have the gun. And you have two magazines. One is a 12-round flush fit, and one is the 15-round extended magazine. So you can see here the Keltec P15 boldly emblazoned on the side, which I'm not sure I like all of that white lettering on there. It kind of reminds me of what Rock Island used to do with their 1911s, which I didn't care for. You got the same thing on the other side, Keltec, patents pending, made in the U.S. I could do without all of that myself, but anyway, that's what's on there. But it has some nice wood panel grips on it. And of course, that is what draws me to it. You start putting wood on things, and I start liking it better automatically, because I'm an old-fashioned kind of guy. I like revolvers with wood stocks, and 1911 with wood panel grips, and so, you know, that makes this much more appealing to me than the polymer frame version is. So this is the metal frame or the aluminum frame version. And it looks similar, for the most part, to the polymer frame. The polymer frame does have, I think, one slot here, a Picatinny rail slot on it, whereas this one doesn't. But for a carry gun like this, you know, I'm probably not looking to put any kind of optic or flashlight or anything like that on it anyway. This wouldn't be a gun I would consider for probably home defense or anything. But, you know, otherwise, I think it's a fairly decent looking gun. Like I said, that's part of my bias because I like wood grips on the side. It kind of reminds me of the old P35s, right? The old Browning High Powers, the way they've got that design there. But I really do like that. It has a fiber optic front sight and night sights on the back, and I believe there's tritium in the front as well. It's a fiber optic, but I believe it also has a tritium insert in it in order for it to be a night sight as well. So that's a nice thing. But you kind of expect that sort of thing in a gun that costs what this one costs. This is about $600. Which, you know, for a Keltec, that's a lot higher price point than what we're used to for a Keltec product. You know, they tend to be budget guns. And so, you know, maybe they're trying to up the ante a little bit. Maybe they're trying to get into a nicer price range of gun with this. The polymer frame version, I think, is a couple $100 cheaper. But it is an aluminum frame gun. So, I mean, you expect them to be a little more expensive, being aluminum frame, but still, the question is is Keltec going to be able to market a product for $600? I don't know. That's the question mark. And I guess we'll see how this fares once it starts really hitting the market and people start seeing this gun. But I think it's a fairly good looking gun. It's kind of strange having these torque screws on there instead of, pins or anything, but that's kind of an odd thing. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but, it could definitely be worse. So, there's the P15 Metal in all of its glory there. But I want to look at a few other things as well while I've got it in here. The slide is not one single piece like most firearms. This section in the back right here is a separate piece. And my understanding is that it's able to be changed out with different ones that are compatible with different optics. So it's a little bit different system than just having a plate on top. It's like this entire section at the back here can be swapped out, and supposedly, now I don't know if they have them yet, but supposedly they will have different ones available for different optics that will be available on the Keltec website. But that was the plan. I don't know if they're actually available yet or not. But that's the first thing you notice. First thing I noticed when I saw this gun was that the slide was not just one piece. Disassembly of this gun is also something a little bit unique. Now, you have to pull out the slide stop here, and that's not unheard of in breaking these down, but with most of them you would lock it all the way to the rear in order to do it, but that's not the way it is with this gun. It's more like a Glock in that you just pull it back a little ways until the right spot, and then you can just pull it out. You just have to hit that right spot. You just have to feel for it until you get to it, then it'll just pop right out. And they say use a bullet or something to pull it out with. I found I can just grab it with my fingernails and get it out. You just have to hit that right spot and it just pops right out. And then you can just pull the slide right off. Now with the slide off, you can see here it has a captive recoil spring that's kind of strange in that it doesn't actually lock into, a lug on the barrel at all. It's not locked into the barrel on this gun, which looks very similar to what you would expect from a tilting barrel design here. But this, instead of locking in here, it appears that it actually locks in against the this piece on the frame right here instead for recoil. So for it to work in pushing the slide back. So that's kind of a little bit different there as well. I thought it was kind of strange when I pulled the slide off and it was just kind of sitting there and not locked in at all, but that's something that's a little bit different. Now you'll notice on the P15 here, it does have the grip safety. A lot of people aren't fond of it. It also has a magazine disconnect so that you can't, release the striker when there's not a magazine in. However, this gun here, on this section right here, there's a little place in there that you can put a really small screwdriver and turn it. And with this white thing at the top, it means that both of the safeties are engaged. If you turn it one time to about a third of the way around, it disconnects both safeties. And if you turn it another third of the way around, roughly, it engages the magazine disconnect, but not the grip safety. So you can either have both the magazine disconnect and the grip safety engaged, both of them off, or you can have the grip safety off and the magazine disengage on. So, that's something that's a little bit different. The reason they put the grip safety on there, my understanding is they were making it California compliant. So if you don't like the grip safety and you don't live in California, you can just disconnect those safeties and use the gun without them. And, that's not that bad of an idea. Keltec has always been somewhat inventive. They think outside the box. Sometimes those things work better than others. Some of their designs have been better than others, but they're not afraid to try something different, though, so you have to give them credit for that. Guys, I actually just told you wrong. I've got a screwdriver now that will fit in here, and I'm going to turn it the third of the way first, and you'll notice that grip safety gets pulled in. So at this point, the grip safety is disconnected. It no longer functions, and the magazine disconnect is disengaged. And I said if you turned it one more time to another third of the way around, that the grip safety would be disengaged, but the magazine disconnect would be engaged. And I got that backwards, because if I turn it again, let me get the screwdriver back in here. If I turn it again, you'll see the grip safety comes back out. So at this point, the grip safety is re-engaged, but the magazine disconnect is disengaged. So I had that all mixed up there. So there's only one position where you can disconnect the grip safety. So if you want the grip safety disengaged, you have to disconnect the magazine disconnect as well. Disengage the magazine disconnect as well. There's no way around that. Here is the P15 from Keltec compared with the P365 from Sig Sauer, which is kind of the standard in tiny 9mm, fairly high capacity carry guns. And so we can see, putting them together, the Keltec clearly has a longer slide. It's a 4-inch barrel, which I don't mind that so much, because it's really not the barrel that's hard to conceal. It's really the grip. And we can look here and see that the grip on the P15 is slightly longer with a flush fit than the P365, because the P365 does angle forward there. So in the back there's significant difference, but in the front it's not that much. Not that much at all. However, the P365 is only holding 10 rounds here, whereas the P15 is holding 12 at this time with this magazine flush fit. All right, now we're going to compare apples to apples. Now I have the 12-round magazine in the P365, which makes it the same length as the P365 XL, compared with the P15, which has the 12-round magazine in it. And now if we compare the two, 12 rounds to 12 rounds, you can actually see that the P365 is longer. It's about the same in the back, but in the front, it hangs down lower. So it's actually a longer grip on the P365 with the same number of rounds. And we'll look here. One more thing here. Now we're going to put the 15-round magazine in. And what you'll see is with the 15-round magazine, there's not too much difference between it and the 15-rounder on the Keltec P15. So, you know, it's the Keltec has done a good job here, I think, size-wise, in finding a gun that's going to fit where it needs to fit in the market, I think. So they've done a good job with that. I think this gun looks fairly nice. There's some things I would change, like the writing on the side. The different coloration on the slide as well, I'm not as fond of. But for the most part, I think it's a decent-looking gun. Of course, the question is, you know, will it cycle, will it fire? Which is always seems to be the question with some of the Keltec products we've seen in the past. So the only thing to do is get it out on the range and just give it a try. All right, guys, that was our quick first look at the Keltec P15. So what do you think? You think it looks pretty good? You think it looks cheap? What's your opinion? What do you think about that $600 roughly price tag? Is that going to work for Keltec? Or are they going to have trouble selling it at that price? I'm really curious myself to see how this goes over. Maybe the polymer frame one, goes over better. I don't know. But I haven't seen any reviews of the metal version yet at all. I've seen a handful of people who have tested out the polymer frame. I didn't see a lot of positive reviews, really. Though I didn't see a ton of real negatives to it, just personal preference kind of things. But anyway, I'm interested in getting this this metal version, this aluminum frame version, out on the range and really putting some rounds down range and seeing how it performs, and really testing it out and seeing if it holds up. I may even do a 1,000-round test on this one. I'm really thinking about that as well, just to see how this one holds up. I'm thinking, being an aluminum frame, surely it's going to do fairly well, but you never know. I mean, this is the first striker-fired gun that Keltec has ever put out. That's another thing I forgot to mention earlier. They've never done a striker fire before, so is the trigger system going to hold up on it, or is it going to die on this gun and after a few hundred rounds? I don't know. We'll just have to put it to the test and see. So I'm really thinking about doing that 1,000-round review, but first I want to get up a full range review of it, which I hope to be doing here in the next week or so. So check back in for that, guys. Appreciate you coming out. If you would, check the description. In the description, there'll be a link for the GOA, the Gun Owners of America, for a discounted membership where you can get in the fight. If you live in the great state of Tennessee like I do, there's also a link there for the TFA, the Tennessee Firearms Association, where you can join up and help us fight for our gun rights here in this great state of Tennessee, because as free as we are in this state, there's still a lot of regulations out there, a lot of things that need to be changed. There's still a great deal of infringements on our rights here, even in Tennessee. So we're fighting for that. The Tennessee Firearms Association annual meeting is coming up in just not even a couple of months now. And Donald Trump Jr. is actually going to be speaking at that. So I'm interested in seeing that. I'm not a gigantic, Trump fan, but I'm not a anti-Trump either. I'm just like I am with any other politician. When they do things that I agree with, I'm happy about it. When they do things I don't agree with, then I'm not happy about it. And, Donald Trump did a lot of things I agreed with in his first term. He did some things I didn't agree with. And so I don't just jump on any bandwagon. I'm really wary of anyone running for office generally. But he'll be speaking, Donald Trump Jr., that is, will be speaking at the TFA annual meeting this year in Lebanon, Tennessee. So if you hadn't got tickets for that, you better grab it if you want them, because they're going fast. So anyway, we're hoping to raise a lot of money this year because of the interest that having him there generates. So this hopefully will be a really good year for the TFA in fundraising. So we can maybe get some more gun-friendly politicians in Nashville to pass some pro-gun legislation to restore our rights. So anyway, guys, appreciate you coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves, and we'll see you next time.